everyone, and welcome back to Almost There, a Twisted Tale novel here on Disney Magic Zach. I am, of course, your host, Zach, and welcome. If you have missed any episodes and you do want to catch up, be sure to check out the playlist down in the description down below. And let's get into today's chapter. Chapter 16. Tiana sifted flour into the steel bowl she dubbed her beignet making bowl, and added in 2 heaping cups of sugar direct from the LaBeouf sugar mills. She relished in the comforting chaos of the busy kitchen, trusting that would get her mind off what had occurred this morning at Mason Blanche department store. It wasn't working out as planned. Now that she thought about it, making beignets wasn't the best distraction method. She made them so often that her mind tended to wander, and right now it remained fixated on the horridness of that morning's encounter. What had happened with that snobby sales attendant was a starting reminder of what she knew all too well, that unfairness lurks around every corner, especially for people who look like her. Once again, Mr. Fenner's words from the year before echoed, the ones he'd uttered after selling that abandoned sugar mill right from under her. A woman of her background wasn't fit to run a big business like this. Did that dough do something to you? Tiana startled at Annie Mae's question. What? Annie Mae nodded at the bowl Tiana held. You're whipping that dough up like it stole your favourite pair of shoes or something. Too much of that and the beignets will come out tough and chewy instead of fluffy. Tiana cursed under her breath as she dumped the contents of the bowl into the bin and started over. The attendant at the department store might have ruined her morning, but Tiana darn sure wouldn't allow her to ruin the rest of Tiana's day. Not with the crowd she was expecting at her restaurant tonight, especially after spreading the word about Rudy Davis and the All-Stars. Tiana started to hum a favourite of his tunes, jump, skip and a hop, under her breath as she cracked an egg and added it to the bowl. She measured and poured in the sugar and threw in a pinch of salt, getting back into the familiar rhythm and focus. On her way to the icebox for milk, she noticed the wire basket that she had used to store the pasta was empty. For a moment she just stared at the basket, baffled. She had quickly gone through the pasta Mr. Salvaggio had delivered yesterday and had put in an emergency order to be delivered first thing this morning. Tiana went into the pantry to see if Annie Mae had mistakenly put it there. There were only canned vegetables, tomato sauce and rice on the shelves. Annie Mae? Tiana walked over to where her head waitress was stacking salad bowls. Where's the pasta I ordered? You made jambalaya with it, didn't you? That was yesterday's order. I put in another for today. Mr. Salvaggio assured me that it would be delivered this morning. Did he not bring it? Annie Mae shook her head. No, I don't think so, and I haven't seen any packages out back. Tiana frowned. Mr. Salvaggio was one of her most reliable vendors. It wasn't like him not to follow through. I hope he isn't unwell, she murmured. She untied the apron from around her waist. You know what? I think I'll just take a walk down to the French market. I need a few extra ingredients anyway. I found a recipe for greens with salt meat in Mama's cupboard that will go mighty fine with tonight's menu. Tiana hung the apron on the nail next to the door, then grabbed the wicker basket she used whenever she went to the outdoor market, which lined the huge bend along the mighty Mississippi. It was only a 15-minute walk through the French Quarter. That is, if she didn't run into anyone she knew on the way there. 15-minute journey could take an hour with chatty neighbours stopping her to inquire about how her mama and the rest of the family were doing. Tiana walked near one of the brick tenement houses where she caught sight of a silhouette out of the corner of her eye. She moved to the side, assuming it was some hard-working factory worker on his way to one of the many warehouses in the quarter. When the blurred figure didn't emerge after she walked several yards, Tiana slowed her steps so that whoever it was behind her could move along. They didn't. She stopped walking and turned around. No one. Unease crept up Tiana's spine in the same way that ever-thickening fog crept along the city streets. She couldn't dismiss this as fatigue on her mind playing tricks on her. Something, or someone was definitely following her. Hello? No answer. Was it the Shadow Man? But no. For all his tricks, Vasilian couldn't resist hearing self-talk. He would have shown himself by now. Heart started to pound in her chest. Tiana hurried along the pavement, barely stopping at the street corners to check for traffic. Relief washed over her when she arrived at the covered outdoor market and found it bustling with people. She waved to the egg vendor, Mr. Taylor, and his son, little Johnny, lifted his cap in greeting. The strongest one of the fish hit her square in the face, but Tiana didn't mind. She waded through the throng of people at the seafood stalls that were set up at the very end of the market, making her way to the plethora of vegetable stands lined up on both sides of the pedestrian walkway. Tiana did a double take when she glanced over at the river. It was green, grassy. A thick moss skimmed the top of the water. What's happening here? She asked. Strange, isn't it? A fisherman said. He held up a foot-long catfish. Can I interest you in one of these? No, thank you, Tiana said. She hooked her thumb at the river. When did this start? The craggy-faced man hunched a shoulder. I was just fine yesterday. Got out of my boat this morning, and this stuff was covering the water. Strange indeed. There has to be something to account for it. Could it be the fog? She remarked. Dunno. Not making it easy for us fishermen, I can tell you that. From the conversation she caught on the way to her favourite vegetable stand, the baffling algae bloom on the riverwards, the talk of the market, Tiana sidled up to the stand run by the Galvez family from St. Bernard Parish. They always had the freshest, most flavourful vegetables, and if you offered a fair price, they would throw in a little something extra. Tiana picked up several bunches of dark leafy greens, a few radishes, some onions, and a basket of strawberries. She wanted to try her hand at making a strawberry sauce and drizzle on top of her beignets. After paying for her purchases, she went over to the Rinella family's pasta stand for her last order. It did measure up to Mrs. Savaggio's spaghetti, but then again, little could. She moved away from the stand with a sense of foreboding tingling along Tiana's spine. Just then an encroaching shadow fell over her. She spun around to find Dr. Facilier standing just over her shoulder. She quickly squelched that cry that rose in her throat. What do you want? She whispered harshly. You know why I'm here. She followed her eyes. She narrowed her eyes. Were you following me earlier? Confusion flashed in his eyes, telling Tiana all she needed to know. He wasn't the one who had trailed her to the market after all. Tiana waved off the question. Forget it. I told you that I'm not making any more deals, so leave me alone. She turned and started to walk away, but before she could get past the next vegetable stall, Facilier was suddenly in front of her, blocking her path. Tiana yelped, but the buzzing chatter around the busy market drowned out her cry. Facilier lowered his head until he was eye level with her. I've been polite. You don't want me to get nasty. She waved her arms in front of his face, inches from her own. What do you call this? You see this little bit of fog that's been hanging around this city? Facilier scoffed. It's nothing. My friends can show you what real smoke looks like. Are you saying that they're the reason behind this strange weather? I'm saying you're the reason this fog is here. I warned you things would get ugly if you didn't do what I said. He pulled the large vial he'd tried to give her the last time they met from the inside pocket of his vest. Take it. Use it tonight. Facilier shoved it into her hands, looking like he wanted to say more. But then he looked past Tiana, his eyes widening in dismay. He quickly pivoted and stalked away, disappearing into the heavy fog. Tiana turned to see what had motivated his abrupt departure. Oh, Miss Rose. Hello, Tiana. Who is your friend? The woman asked as she approached. He's nobody, Tiana muttered darkly, watching Facilier retreat further into the fog. She threw the new concoction into her bag. You know, Tiana, my mother used to say that all the time. Beldan Paddy Zami. Just because someone is smiling at you doesn't mean they're your friend. One must be careful of the company one keeps. He's no friend of mine, Tiana said. The woman only nodded. And after a beat she said, We're going to leave the market without visiting my flower stand? Well, I'm in a bit of a rush, Tiana hedged. Miss Rose had the ability to make her feel as if she had just been scolded in the most gentle way possible. I must say that those beautiful flowers you gave me yesterday are gorgeous, Tiana added. They really do brighten up my restaurant. I'm happy to hear that, the woman said in her soothing voice. She nodded in the opposite direction. Follow me. I have another gift for you. I really can't, Tiana called, but Miss Rose was already heading to the flower stand, and the woman had been much too nice to her over the past few months for Tiana to really walk away. Miss Rose, I appreciate the gifts, but I can't continue to accept them, especially without payment, Tiana said, as she trailed after her. But I insist, Miss Rose replied. My painting is a hobby. They would remain unseen in my home if you weren't kind enough to display them. And this one is very special. I think you will like it. She lifted a purple cloth from the framed picture, unveiling an absolute stunning portrait of the Mardi Gras Indians. The bright colours of their elaborate headdresses were so brilliant, it gave the picture an almost lifelike appearance. The scene displayed the tradition, which had originated in Treme, of the formerly enslaved Africans paying homage at Mardi Gras to the native people who had aided them during troubled times. How could she say no to a painting that held such meaning to the neighbourhood that had embraced her restaurant? It's beautiful, Tiana said. I know exactly where I'm going to put it. You must hang it in the very centre of the back wall, facing the stage. Tiana blinked. That's, very specific. Miss Rose shrugged her delicate shoulders. There's a symmetry to the placement, yes. The rhythm of the band paired with the rhythm of the Indian's tambourine. She tapped the side of her leg as if she were playing one of the percussion instruments. Yes, Tiana slowly nodded. Yes, I agree. You should probably get back, Miss Rose said. Word on the street is that you have quite the celebration taking place at your restaurant tonight. Tiana shook her head, trying to clear it. Yes, I do, she said. Thank you again for the painting. Thank you for giving it a home, she returned. Tiana secured the gift underneath her arm before leaving the French market. She decided against going back the way she came, choosing to head west, past the Cabildo and St. Louis Cathedral. As she came upon the huge limestone Louisiana Supreme Court building that had just recently been built, she watched as a brand new Model T pulled up to the curb and one of the Fenner brothers, the taller of the two, got out of the car, as if the day could get any stranger. Well, if it isn't Tiana. How are you doing? I'm doing well, Mr. Fenner. How are you? Oh, well, all is good, except for this fog that doesn't want to go away. Strange thing, isn't it? That it is. And it seems to be getting thicker by the day. Yes, it does. He looked her up and down through the monocle that hung from a chain on his neck. You know, Tiana, I hope there are no hard feelings about what happened with that old sugar mill. Your restaurant would have never survived in that area. Where it is now, over there in Treme, is much more suited for your type of establishment. She straightened her shoulders. Forgive me for being so bold, Mr. Fenner, but I happen to disagree. I think my restaurant will thrive no matter where it's located, and I haven't given up on the riverfront. Me and my daddy are going to eventually open an even bigger restaurant one day. In fact, we plan to open several. She gave him a sweet smile, and she hefted her basket of vegetables up higher on her forearm. Now, if you would excuse me, I have a very, very big night ahead, and if you would like some good food and good jazz music, might I suggest you come over to Treme and give TJ Sub Club a try. The doors are always open to anyone. Tiana's heart pounded like a bass drum within her chest as she continued along Royal Street. She could feel Mr. Fenner's eyes boring into her retreating form, but she wouldn't take back a word she said, and she refused to apologise for her tone. She was tired of everyone telling her what to do, where to be. This weekend's Mardi Gras celebration would give her the boost she needed to do things her own way. She would make it so, even if that constant unease in the pit of her stomach made her wonder what other forces were at work.